Hi, this is Rick. I'm in my studio. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Rick Surowicz Watercolor. At any time during the video, you can click on the link in the lower right-hand corner to subscribe to my channel. If you want to see more of my videos or learn more about my self-paced online courses or live online courses, you can click on one of the links that appears at the end of the video. So for today, I'll be working with this subject. I'm going to be doing a painting. 11 by 15 inches. I'll be working at about a 20-degree angle as I paint, and this is the setup I'll be using for my video, and I'm just going to go ahead and we'll just get into painting this. So this is a simple farm scene. I'm going to look at these larger shapes. I'm going to start with a sky wash, then I'll start working on these other large areas of value and color, and then start working in with some detail. So I'm going to start with a sky wash. It's going to be fairly simple. I'll be using a round wash brush, and I'm going to use some cerulean blue on my palette, and I'm just going to paint this kind of like a partly cloudy day. Just add there's some clouds in there, so just starting by putting down a wash of cerulean blue. A little bit more blue up here. And I'll bring the this all the way down to the horizon line. And I'll soften these edges a bit. I'm just keeping this fairly simple for this demonstration. I'm not going to get real involved with the clouds at all and lots of colors. I'm just going to paint this a simple cerulean blue. Like I said, I'm going to bring this down down to this horizon line. Paint around the structure here. And before these edges get too hard, I'm going to take a spray, a fine mist spray. I'm going to soften those edges up, make them feel more like clouds. Get a little tissue and pick up some of this excess moisture. I'll use my brush. I don't want that to pool up. And I think from there I'll just use some water and bring down maybe a little bit of color in there, and bring down a light wash of this cerulean blue. Still going to pick up some excess moisture. And let's see, I might strengthen the blue in a few areas. I'll probably leave it at that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a hairdryer and I'm going to dry this, and I'm going to continue painting. So I've completely dried this, and now I'm going to take, I'm going to add a little lemon yellow to my palette, some Viridian. I'm going to take a little rose madder, probably a little more than what I wanted. There we go. I'm adding some more Viridian to this mixture. A little more of the yellow. So I want kind of a grayed yellow green. And then over here, I'm going to add a little ultramarine to this mixture. Here, and a little of this green. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this distant tree line. There's a distant tree line here, so I'm going to use a little bit of that kind of a grayed down yellow green. A little more, add a little raw sienna to that. Let's see what we get. I'm going to take some of this more of a blue-gray, just keeping it neutral. I'm going to bring that down a bit more. So we're going to add a little bit more. That goes across here. We'll take a few spots to make see some of the treetops come up there. Yeah, maybe a little bit here. All right. So next, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint in a bit of a yellow green that comes across here, and a variety of colors, kind of an even tone. Bring a flat wash of a green across here. But before I do that, I'm going to dry this edge so that I can maintain a nice clean edge when I put this wash down here. It doesn't run together. Okay, I'm going to go back to my wash brush. This is a round wash brush, and I'm going to take some hands of yellow, a little permanent green light, maybe some quinacridone gold, and I'm going to go ahead and put a wash of kind of a yellow green going across here, and maybe some little raw sienna. I'm going to go back to a round brush, and I'm going to use this yellow green. Bring a little gold out here. There's a road here. I'm not really going to put the road in, but more of the grass alongside of it. And I'm going to touch, get something a little darker here. Add a little. I'm just going to touch the bottom. First, I'm going to lift off some of the moisture I have there. It's collected at the bottom. And now, while that's wet, I'm going to take this cooler mixture and touch it here at the bottom, here and there. Actually, I'm going to take some royal blue. This is a darker blue. I want this to be almost a gray. So I want to do this while this is still wet, coming across here. And that's probably enough. And I'm actually going to take a bit of a green tone. A little darker green. And now I'm going to take a 1-inch flat brush, and I'll take some of this Viridian, a little rose madder, it's actually to be a green, it's a little grayer than I want. I'm gonna start with my sap green over here. Take a little of this, and we'll go with this, what I've got right here. And just a touch of a red tone. So this is a middle value that I'm putting in this foreground. And I'm not going to do a whole lot to it. Just put this wash down. I'm not trying to paint individual blades of grass or anything here. I am going to get just a little bit brighter green to kind of put in here. And I'll probably leave it at that. So now I'm going to dry this once again. So this is dry, so this is just going to be left as a middle value here. And my darker values will be here in the middle ground. And I'm going to go ahead with a number 6 round brush. And I'm going to put in, I want a bit of a yellow green. And I'll have a darker mixture there, but I'm going to start to put in touches of the plants, the bushes, the shrubs, and everything that are around this this house. I'm going to take a little royal blue, some sap green, and a touch of rose madder. Get a darker color of green going, but I still want to keep some of that yellow green showing on top. Get a little darker here. Okay, so now I'm going to take this yellow green and I'm going to kind of use the side of my brush, the belly of my brush, start to get some of the foliage in here from the trees, and I'll paint in the house around and in this tree, some of it in kind of a negative painting. Get a little darker mixture. I'll take some of this royal blue, maybe a little burnt sienna. I'll put in this tree trunk. And then I got this fir tree back here. It's kind of a grayish green I'm using. I'm gonna taking some of the moisture off my brush. I'm just gonna drag it and push it. Trying to keep some of the sky coming through this. And I'm going to get a little darker here and a little cooler in my green mixture. And there's something else here in the distance. We'll just kind of put that in. A little more red in this to tone that green down. And now I'm going to go with probably my wash brush here. I'm going to use a number 8 round brush to start. I've got this tree, this large tree here. So mixing a few colors here to use, some dark values. I'll take some of that paint off. I want this to have a bit of a broken edge as I paint this. So there's some areas where there's just a lot of foliage just gathered together. It makes a very dark shape. And then it starts to open up. want to get some of this lighter yellow-green in here, a little more water in my brush, a little more moisture in my brush. Okay, now I'm going to take it's royal blue with a little burnt orange. And I'm going to paint some of the darker areas here, some of the tree trunk, but some of this area is quite dark. I'm not going to do too much more with that at the moment. So now I have this evergreen back here. Using a little of this yellow green. And then let's see, over here. We'll go here with this. Got another smaller tree. Kind of short and wide. Okay. Now we have a tree over here. It's really kind of a an odd shaped tree, maybe just kind of short and very dense. A little darker value right here along the house. Okay, now I'm gonna dry this, then I'll start working on the house and put in these telephone poles. Okay, so everything's dry here and I've cleaned my palette, and now I'm gonna start working on the house, and I'll be using a variety of colors here. This is burnt orange, this is a little rose madder, some ultramarine blue, and I'll be using a combination of these, maybe a little raw sienna. So I'm going to put a kind of a middle value wash. This is a bit of a kind of a gray, red, violet, and some of this, I'll add a little of this kind of a gray down blue, a little raw sienna in here. Just create a mixture of colors. Some warm, some cool, and just trying to keep it in a middle value. And so that's my rooftop. Now I'm going to go for I'm going to paint the side of the building here that has the light hitting it. And I'm going to go with a darker value on the shadow side of things. Just almost a violet. That I'm using. So I'll work some of this darker value into the tree so that you're seeing through the tree and see the house. And I want to give enough of an indication of a clean edge here to show the edge of the house. You have these dark shapes here. I'm going to take this darker value and paint the shadow side of the chimney. And then before I go any further, I want to dry this. I'm going to paint the shadows on some of these areas. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit more of this and paint the porch, or whatever this, I guess it's the back porch. Paint that with a little bit of just a touch lighter value than what I had. I'm gonna lighten that up a little bit. And now I'm gonna take just kind of a grayish blue and I'm gonna glaze over the white trim on this, put it more in shadow. And we have a shadow. Here. So on this rooftop, this chimney is casting a shadow. And I'm going to paint kind of a middle value gray in these windows. This is fairly small areas that I'm working in right now. I'm working on a quarter sheet, 11 by 15 inch painting. And I want to go a little darker. I'm gonna dry this, and I'm gonna go a little darker in this shadow. Go a little darker right here. Just a little brush work. Not going to do too much to this. Okay, so now I'll take some of this kind of grayed down color that I have, and I'm going to put in these telephone poles. Right now I'm using a number 4 round brush. This is a Princeton Aqua Elite number size 4 round. It's got a nice point. A lot of times I'll do this work with a rigger, and I still am going to put the wires in. Got a pole that's back here. And so I am going to take a liner brush or a rigger brush. So this is a number 8 rigger. Again, this is a Princeton Aqua Elite, and I'm going to just actually going to put another crossbar. I'm just going to drag a wire here and just put a few light wires there. I'm going to have one kind of going through here, one coming in. And let's see, we have a distant telephone pole out here that's a little shorter. The other side of the road. And that's about all I'm going to do on this. So very simple farm scene, focusing on the large areas of value and color, large shapes first, building some layers on here, coming in with the trees, doing a little negative painting as I bring in the house there, but some simple shapes, focusing on values and keeping my darker values right here in the middle ground. Could go a little darker if you wanted, but I hope you enjoyed this.